Hey, Stacey.
Hi, Ryan.
Welcome back to the Top Agent Podcast, everybody. We don't have a guest today. What we do have is lots of things we want to get off of our chest. Now, how has business been for you? Let's say let's capture it in a 2-week period.
I would say things are picking up for me. I have my first ever commercial listing going up tomorrow. I'm really excited about that.
And for the record, when Stacey says tomorrow, when you see this, it'll have been up for a week. So check that out. It's up now.
Yes, it is. Check it out. Seddon's Corner, Manitoba. Cool part about this is I've had no idea what I was doing when it came to starting up a commercial listing, but thankfully with EXP, I had some guidance, and it turns out it's a lot easier than I thought. So I'm super excited. Photos were done yesterday. Professional photos to me are a must, and drone footage. So that was my big win for the week, and I've been condo shopping. So
Do you mean to tell me that someone at EXP actually helped you put up a condo listing and they weren't just recruiting the whole time?
yes.
Some liberal sardonicism on my part, because a lot of people say a lot of things. And of course, we hear all the time that, what people's perception of us are. And sometimes other brokerages will say things that are alternative facts, we'll call them. But let's not go too far down that path, because while we are in EXP and we do recruit and we do want people on our team to join us, even rocking the Game Changers gear right here. Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about, business over the past couple of weeks has been really good for me. Like, I've got military house hunting trips coming in. If you have questions on that, let me know. That's a whole thing here in Canada.
I signed up for that too.
Yeah, they have a pretty good deal for military families that travel around. But in order to service these clients, you have to be signed up on certain websites. In Canada, it's BGRS. So check that out if you're an agent in Canada and you want to take advantage of that. At some point, the same goes for lawyers. The same goes for home inspectors. They have to be registered on that site in order to service these clients. And it's pretty easy to do. That being said, I also have a few other clients around. But the thing I've noticed is, because it has been a slower time in real estate, the amount of shenanigans that it's been going on has been incredible. There are agents out there pulling out all the stops, doing these tactics to take agents away, if we're talking from that perspective. Or there's other ones that are just going after clients in general.
Yes, I think that buyer's contracts are definitely something that we all need to be doing, because it appears that a lot of realtors are not concerned with the fact that somebody is already working with a realtor, which is unfortunate. I think that we all need to earn our own business, but yeah, we'll have to protect ourselves.
Yeah, so the buyer agency agreement is definitely a thing here in Manitoba that we should be using. But it's an awkward conversation.
Yes, it is.
But we're kind of being pushed into that situation because lately things have been happening where the competition is fierce. There's some lack of integrity going on from people that you might not have expected in the past.
Yeah.
And I hope everyone reading this doesn't come across as simply complaining and whining about things that have been happening. However, I maintain that I will treat you the same when I am busy as I will when I am not busy. And that is that if somebody says they're working with you, I will back off and not pursue that client.
So if you're sitting down with a client and you want to get a buyer's agency agreement signed, what does that conversation look like for you?
Honesty is the best policy, in my opinion. So you basically, a buyer agency agreement, for those listening, is a commitment from you to the client and from the client to you. It is basically their commitment that when you're investing your time into that client, that they don't just switch midstream and go somewhere else. Now, in Manitoba, we have two. And when I say Manitoba, generally Canada is the same across the board. But we have an extra layer in Manitoba. We got the Real Estate Services Act, which we have to sign a service contract, which is basically outlining what you're going to do for your client.
Yes.
Those are worded in such a way that, a client, a buyer, or a buyer can have multiple service contracts with multiple agents. It's
Yes.
kind of your commitment back to them. It's non-binding. Wording can be added in there where that's taken away at any time. The buyer agency agreement's a little bit different. It is the client basically committing to you that you are their realtor, and should they buy from someone else, well, there might be a monetary compensation that comes back because of that. Now, I have only done these one time in my 7-year career.
Yeah, me too.
And it was because I was working with a client. I had invested a significant amount of time into them. And then they went and approached a listing agent on their own, and they wrote an offer. They did not like the way the offer was handled, and it actually fell through. They came back to me. When they came back to me, because fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, I actually had them do up a service contract.
Yes. Well, that's fair. Sometimes I wonder if it's a lack of knowledge on newer agents' part. So I think that educating realtors on, proper etiquette and how to communicate with your clients, and if you're hosting open houses, you should be asking people if they're working with an agent. And if they're not, then get your form signed. We have to help each other, which is kind of why I'm where I am.
Yeah. Trying to capitalize on other agents' efforts is definitely not a business plan that is going to
No.
be successful for a long term.
No, you don't want to burn bridges with people you have to work with every day. So
yeah, it's right up there with bashing someone else's listing.
Yeah.
For the purpose of selling your own.
Yes.
Now, if you want to talk about that for a few minutes.
Yeah, for sure.
I always treat every house that I go into like there's listening devices all over the house. Because in this day and age, there probably is. Now, if there's a Google Home or an Alexa sitting there, I sometimes either throw my jacket over it or I unplug it. Because honestly, there are things you're going to say during that showing, particularly if you're not double ending it. So you're taking a client into someone else's listing. You like to talk to your client a little bit ahead of time and say, look, let's quietly go through this house. Ask your questions about the things in the house, but please do not talk about price. Do not talk about how much you're willing to offer or what your top of the mark is for that offer, because nowadays someone could hear that. And that would basically reveal everything and give the advantage to the person that is selling the home.
Doorbell cameras are a big one too.
Yes, so stay away from the front door as well. Walk away down the driveway.
Yeah, don't stand on the
doorstep and talk.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Now, I can tell you, previous to me being a realtor, now keep this in mind. This is not me. This is someone I knew had a listening device in their home. And they listened to every showing that was done on that property. Now, they listened to the same agent come into the home and tell their client how shitty the whole house is and all the things that are wrong with it in an effort to get that client to go to their listing and buy it, which they did. So this happened to be that agent's only listing. That same agent came back another time and told the client how great this house is and ended up generating an offer on the house because there was no more competition against his own listing.
Wow.
That's one of the craziest stories I heard because, well, the client was listening to all of this and not saying anything, only passing on information to their listing agent, which, by the way, that listing agent on their last property, they only hired that person based on listening to them before at another house.
Ay, ay, ay.
So they liked that listing agent and how they did their job. So they called them later and listed the property with them. So that is so many layers of ethics. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That it's so inappropriate on a number of different levels. However, this is the kind of thing that we deal with nowadays. So, agents, if you're listening, be careful what you say in a property.
Yes. I think that there's a lot of stuff we don't learn in real estate school, and especially etiquette wise. And I think it's important to educate yourself or take the time to learn.
Yeah. So I'll tell you about the last listing I got, one of the last listings I got. And the person had phoned me up and said, I am shopping around. I am interviewing a number of listing agents. And I said, you should do that. You should do that. You should go and search that person, go to their Facebook business page, look at the reviews, go to Google, look at the reviews, talk to everybody, and find out what you can about them before making your decision. And that includes me. Go and look at all of my stuff. And the fact that I said that, they called me back the next day and they said, we're not interviewing anyone else. You're the guy.
Nice.
So
Honesty really is the best way to go. So
yeah, and you can sleep at night.
yes.
I also use a home inspector that has killed a lot of deals for me. And
Yeah, me too.
I would
My home
rather,
inspector's too good.
he's excellent, and I would rather him do that than have a client that is upset because of something the home inspector missed or let slide.
Yes. So
Go
yeah,
ahead.
I think that we should talk about home inspections a bit because you and I both use CAPI certified inspectors, and I've come across a lot of realtors that don't know what that is or what that means, and they just look up home inspectors and point them out to their client. And recently there has been a person that is saying that they have certifications that they don't, and they're reaching out to all the realtors. And I myself went through this when we bought our home. So we ended up paying 3 times what my clients pay for a home inspection, but I had no idea. I wasn't a realtor at the time. I was 25 years old and unaware of the different types of inspectors or certifications. And our inspection did not cover half of what it should have. And there was a lot of things missed. And we've had nothing but problems with our house. Now they're all fixed, but it's kind of one of the reasons I became a realtor, so I could kind of educate people on and make sure that they didn't go through what I went through. So do you want to talk a bit about the home inspector certification?
Yeah, so the way that the offer is written, generally, in Canada, you can pretty much pick whoever you want. So your dad, your uncle, your cousin, your coworker,
Your
your
friend who's a carpenter.
it's a carpenter, but there is a Canadian, I think it's CAPI is Canadian Association of Professional Home Inspectors. Is that correct?
I will take a quick look while you're.
You can confirm that. So, just like realtors, there are reviews out there for home inspectors. That is the certification you want. They have a standard that they must meet. So I am extremely hesitant when I see home inspectors advertising, and they're advertising a walkthrough with no report. They're advertising, different versions of a home inspection, which really aren't a home inspection. I get nervous when I hear of home inspectors, getting 10 minutes in and say, well, I can stop right now and you only have to pay me $150 because I found all these things. If that inspection is done properly, they should see it through, and it's worth the $400 or $500 or whatever it's going to be for peace of mind. And they're not all created equally.
Yes.
The certified ones are the ones you want, but double check, because lately you and I have both run into somebody that is holding themselves out as CAPI certified, and they are not.
No. And the difference between CAPI certification and the individual provinces like certification is the one in like that say you could take in Manitoba. It's like a 3 or 4 day course and bang, you're a home inspector. Yes, they do actually pay higher insurance because they don't have proper certification. But the CAPI certification, I have a family member going through it right now, and it's, a 1 or 2 year program, and they they kind of mentor somebody. So, maybe one of our episodes, we could have one of our CAPI certified inspectors on so agents could learn a bit about what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. So be careful, buyer beware on all aspects of all service providers. Hire a professional.
Yeah.
Get the money. I've seen many, many home inspections where I think, oh my goodness, like you'd been better off without. This person did not do anything, and
Well, yeah.
probably, my favorite one ever was many, many years ago. Somebody hired their coworker to come in. And when I say hire, I think ask them for a favor. And the gentleman walked in, and God bless him, but he walked into that room that has all the fridge and the stove and all that stuff, and he put his hands on his hips and he says, "So this is the kitchen?" And I thought, oh my God, here we go. Like, what was your first clue? This was the the sink. Was it the sink? Or was it the dishwasher? Was it the stove and the fridge?
Yeah.
The cupboards, the countertops? But yes, that was a question. And then the whole thing lasted 15 minutes. Didn't open a cupboard under a sink. Didn't really look in, around, or behind anything. Just simply walked through the house, walked around the outside, argued with me whether it was a gas or an electric furnace. And I explained how you know the difference. The main thing being the gas line going into the furnace. And put his hands on his hips and said, "I have no problem with this house." And I thought, oh my God. I was double ending it, and I was confident the house was solid. But that inspection wasn't worth a 6-pack of beer.
Oy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Like, and we often work with people that we refer to our clients, and you don't want to be referring the wrong person. So CAPI is the Canadian Association of Home and Property Inspections. Sorry, it took me a bit to find it. Yeah, it's CAHPI.
Right.
Yeah, Canadian Association of Home and Property Inspectors. It says here, it must meet rigorous professional educational requirements followed by review. So that's the part that my cousin's actually going through right now, is the review part. And kind of makes me happy to know that he's going to be properly certified, because when he said he was looking at becoming an inspector, he didn't realize, there was this program versus the ones in the province. And I was like, no, don't do that. So
yeah, the other one is the other thing to consider is commercial inspections are different. It's a different level of certification, and a lot of home inspectors will do commercial inspections, and they shouldn't.
yeah, that is a very good point.
It's not like real estate where a residential license will allow you to do the odd commercial deal. It's a different certification.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, my inspector is certified, wet certified. So for wood stoves and stuff, which, a lot of inspectors will just look in there and say that they checked it, but are they actually certified?
That's right. And my guy will not do that. He will say you need to get a a fireplace inspector, a wet inspector to come
Yeah,
and
that's what this guy,
inspect
he
this
he
house.
got his wet certification, which is nice because he's even come and done our wood stoves. So
Yeah.
yeah, all things that we need to learn.
Yeah. We've been going on for about 20 minutes. What else you want to talk about, Stacey?
Well, one thing I want to say about the inspectors is I highly, highly suggest to all realtors to follow their inspector around the house instead of just sitting there playing on your phone.
That's right. You're there for a reason.
Yeah.
Now, what Steve, my guy, at Assiniboine Home Inspections, I'll give him a plug here. He will sometimes like to go through the house for about 3 hours by himself. And then instead of dragging the client around with him the whole time, he will go over his findings at the end. So it'll take an hour,
Yeah.
hour and a half at the end and basically go through the entire home with them with his notes and show them everything they're gonna see on the report. Because if you just stay home and you go through his report, it can be daunting because it's a big document with
Yeah.
a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And the good part about his reports are there's priorities set on when you should deal with it, and some stuff is general maintenance that he just hasn't done.
Yes. Yeah. I deal with Jeremy and our inspectors know each other. If you
Mhm.
guys need their numbers, reach out to Ryan and I. But he does something similar, and I always follow him around the house for educational purposes for myself because if I'm going to be showing people houses, I should at least know what I'm talking about. And especially living in the country, a lot of rural homes have different septic systems and a lot of old houses with issues. So I think it's I've learned a lot following him around. So
Yeah. And the one other thing I'll add here before we jump off here is if you are in any community and you don't know who to call, because I've seen a lot of real spammy ads lately for duct cleaning and that sort of thing, and they say we're located here. Well, they're not. They're not. Some of them are located centrally, and they send out
oh
whoever.
yeah,
Um,
seen
if
those.
you need somebody for a roof, somebody for a foundation, somebody for a furnace, yada yada yada, all the things above. Call a realtor.
Yeah,
They should be able to help you.
yeah,
You'll be able to recommend who the professionals are that you should call in your community. I
and
did the exact same thing yesterday. We did a home inspection in the morning and we did estimates in the afternoon for renovations they wanted.
and as a realtor, you should be developing a database of business people. I had clients teasing me because every time they said they needed something done, I said, "Oh, I know a guy."
Yeah.
Um, and they said, "Well, you sure know a lot of people." I said, "Well, that's part of it. You develop a database of people you can trust." So I have, a plumber, electrician, people that we can call for our clients that we trust to do a good job.
Yep.
Get
100%.
your list together. I think a good way to finish this off, Ryan, is we should kind of discuss what we've got going on in the next week or two. So, what do you got coming up in the next 2 weeks, business and personal?
Okay. Business wise, I have many offers going in. I'm putting up a listing on a really good building lot in town that is ideal for multifamily in Portage La Prairie, Manitoba. I have a house listing coming up that I can't talk about just yet, but it is coming. I actually have a few. So just watch for those. Things are happening. This week has been bananas with business happening. Next week, maybe a little tiny bit slower, but the spring season is here. And I feel like all the people that were hesitant on buying because the interest rates are now starting to get into the market and have some activity going on. Personally, a few days after you see this, I will be coaching my team and my daughter at the Manitoba Provincial Arm Wrestling Championships in Winnipeg.
Nice.
And that's my role. I'm not competing because how do I say this without being cocky? I don't need another provincial title. There, I said it. I will go on and compete at the national championships, having not competed at the provincials.
Nice. That's good. Um, for me, I have lots of volunteer stuff going on. I am actually a vice president of the local community center. So I have spent my last 2 Saturdays there. This one, there's a Johnny Cash band. So I am volunteering in the bar. Just a good way to keep in touch with all my clients. A lot of them live in the area. And business-wise, I've got probably consider doing an open house or two, and condo shopping. I have a client that's steady condo shopping. She's got specific needs, so we're just trying to find her something. And yeah, I think that's about it.
That's an interesting topic for the next time it's just the two of us. Networking.
Yes.
We'll talk about that. All right,
Sounds good.
Stacey. This has been we'll call it the solo episode for us. And
Yes.
we got guests coming up next week, so stay tuned for that.
Thank you.
All right. Talk to you later, Stacey.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes.